36%. That's the pass rate that we've got on the February 2022 exams. So those of you who managed to pass, congratulations. Great achievement. Uh, it's an amazing feeling. I still remember the day I got my level 1 results. Right? It's just fantastic. This feeling is going to remain with you for the rest of your life. I always say this in our sessions that y- you can buy expensive things. You can buy a fancy watch, a fancy car. That keeps you happy for a week, for maybe for a month. But this congratulation email, that's going to keep you happy for the rest of your life, right? So if you manage to get through the exam, congratulations, great achievement. I'm sure you're very happy, and you are celebrating, and you should be celebrating, right? So party chalne do. Now here's what I'm going to do. uh, I'm going to take your 15-20 minutes, but I want to talk about a little bit of strategy for the level 1 successful candidates first. We'll discuss about whether November level 2 feasible or not feasible, right? Whether you have sufficient time, how to think of level 2. So we'll have a quick discussion there. But then I want to spend more time for candidates who could not get through the exams. We need to have serious conversation on, number one, how to analyze your results in the first place, right? There's some weird things that happens. I get calls from candidates, and they say something strange once in a while. So we need to have some discussion on how to look at those result report. I'll be showing you a sample. Then obviously, continuation question is, what do I do? Should I drop out, continue? We'll discuss that. And then obviously we'll also discuss, should you be taking your next attempt? Should you be taking your next attempt in August? Should it be going for November? Should you be going for Feb? Or should you just say that, you know what, I'm done, I can't do this anymore, right? So we'll discuss that as well. But let's start with successful candidates first. We'll have a 3-4 minute discussion, and then you guys are free to go. So number one, congratulations. I'm sure you're happy. I'm happy. Um, Passing level 1 is always a great achievement. It means that you're on the right path. It means very soon you'd be staring at your CFA charter. So fantastic. Now, how about level 2? When to take level 2 now? Is November feasible, right? Is there sufficient time to take level 2 exam? The answer is mostly yes. Yes, level 2 is definitely doable. How much time we have? How much time we have with us? So we are on mid-April now, and we're looking at November. So we've roughly ballpark how many months? About 5.5, 6 months. Am I doing that right? Yeah, 5.5 to 6 months, right? Now, why? What should be the case for level 2 in November? Couple of reasons. First, level 2 requires very strong background of CFA level 1. For example, fixed income. It just builds on top of what we did in level 1. Derivatives, same stuff. You need to be good at level 1 derivatives to be able to answer or at least appreciate level 2 derivatives. So that continuity is very helpful, right? So if you've just studied level 1 until a couple of months back, those concepts are still reasonably fresh in your mind, I hope. I think it's a good idea to take level 2 in November, unless and until you have some commitments or the time schedule just doesn't work. But then how do you plan your studies? How much time is required? So CFA Institute recommends roughly about 300 to 350 hours of preparation, right? In my experience, with the average candidates that I've dealt with, I think the number is higher. The 300 number probably is also got to do with this a psychological bias where a task looks easier after you've achieved it, right? So if you go to candidates and probably ask them how many hours did you study, and if you do that ex post, Like after the results, candidates who managed to pass would probably say a lower amount of time, or it could be anything. But I think 500 घंटे लगते हैं. You need 500 hours. So that gives you roughly a run rate of about 100 hours per month, right? If you want to pull off level 2 in November, 100 hours per month is about 25 hours per week, and you know the formula that you can do 2 hours per day on weekdays. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, do घंटे, 2 hours a day, and then Saturday, Sunday you try and do cumulative 15 hours. Sounds a lot, but once you get into it, ho jata hai, right? Once you get into it, automatically you get used to it. So if this is something that you think you can do, then I think November level 2 should definitely be something that should be considered. Okay, that should definitely be on your mind. Make some sacrifices, push yourself, get done with it. You've already crossed one significant hurdle. After level 2, more or less, you're on the path. You're getting your charter soon. That's it. That's my advice to you. Congratulations. Go and party now. The video kind of gets over for you here. Now let's talk about candidates who couldn't get through, right? So 36% pass rate. That means what about 64% candidates who took the level 1 exams could not get through. So obviously it's very disappointing for a variety of reasons. Number one, just the sheer size of efforts that one puts in, for preparation of the exams, the emotional stress that comes along with it, the sacrifices that you made, your family made, and equally important is the money that's lost, right? Because your exam fee is gone. Once you fail the exam, then you need to repay the exam fee, which is sizable for most of us, right? So now you've got the results. How do you want to think about it? Okay, so first, let me show you some statistics. I think you'd want to see them. I just downloaded this from the CFA Institute website. These are the average pass scores from 1963 to right till 2022. So these are your results, right? 36%. That's the average pass score. One that's at least better than how it was in the previous 4 exams. So that's at least good news. It looks like maybe it is slowly moving towards the historical average. If that happens, that's a great news for all of us. But 36% is your pass rate in this attempt. If I take an average of last few attempts, maybe it's in the range of about 30, right? Ballpark, not precise. And then these are your pass rates for level 2 in the last few attempts, right? 40, and then we had an anomaly at 29, and then again 40. More or less, it has been in the range of 40, 46%. And then these are your pass rates at level 3. Now, at level 1, you did study basic probabilities, correct? So let's say that there are 100 candidates who start out with level 1 exam preparations together. About 30% of them will pass the level 1 exam in the first go. Again, these are average numbers, not precise, right? I'm just kind of trying to make a point here. So which means out of 100, 30 people are through this barrier in the first attempt. Then out of this 30, 40% people will pass. So which means we are looking at 12 people. So when 100 people started out, 30, then 12. And out of these 12, again, I've taken an average of 40. Maybe I'm being a little conservative here, but fair enough. So out of this 12, how many? Bar chok athe jais, right? So that's about 4.8. So roughly about 5. So even if you were to take like the best case scenario, maybe 6 or 7. So which means out of 100, there would be about 5 to 7 people who are passing everything sequentially in the first attempt. That tells you something very interesting, which tells you that a large number of CFA charter holders which are out there, they might have failed the test at least once or twice throughout their journey. right? Just think about it, that if only out of 100, if only 5 people are getting through in the first attempt, then I'm sure there are a lot of CFA charter holders there out there, who probably couldn't get through, in level 1 or either level 2. They got stuck somewhere. So just because you couldn't get through level 1 in this particular attempt does not necessarily mean that you will not be a CFA charter holder someday, right? So have slightly larger picture and just think about it. Now, another thing is, a lot of candidates have this tendency of, getting into this strange dark place where not passing the exam looks like an end of the world, and I can totally relate with you. But see, you need to appreciate that not getting the results, not getting positive result, is is not is not telling anything about you. It's not about you. It's just your performance for the last few months and your performance on the day on the test. So just because couldn't get through doesn't mean you're not smart, right? This is just one of the hundreds of thousands of exams that happens on this planet. It's just an exam. So if you couldn't get through, doesn't mean you're not smart, doesn't mean you're not made for it. It simply means that you did not prepare as per the expectations of the testing body. So what it requires is a lot of self-reflection to figure out, where did I go wrong? What is it that I could have done better? Correct? And that's where we can make use of the results data which is provided by the CFA Institute, which I think gives you a very nuanced understanding of your performance on the test. So let's go and look at that stuff. I took this, from one of the candidates who shared. This is his or her score. This is their score. It's very close to that, the top 10 or 90th percentile, as they call it, right? It's very close to that, but it's definitely not in that category. Now on the y-axis, this is your score, and this is your minimum passing score line, right? That's your MPS score. Now, there is no predetermined MPS. I'm sure you know that. It varies every year. It varies depending on the type of exam which is constructed and a lot of variety of other factors. Maybe we'll talk about that someday. But here, most importantly, there is an MPS, and then about 36 percentage of the candidates managed to score above that. Remaining 64 kind of ended below that. Now, your score could be in either of these ranges, right? So your score could be in red range, or maybe somewhere in the middle around blue, or maybe black. And again, generalization, but just to help you build some sort of a thinking perspective. And then you must also have a second page where they've given subject-wise breakdown of how you performed an individual score. Now here on the y-axis, you actually have percentage score. So this is your 70 percentage line, and this is your 50 percentage. So you get a fair idea of how much you scored. For example, this candidate must have scored, about 65 percentage or somewhere in that region in economics, right? And then you can try to get a sense of how much you scored in individual subject. Now, one common mistake people do, and you tell me if you do it, they look at the score, and if you've, especially if candidates who've not gone through the exam or haven't passed, they would look at this and then they would say, I did not pass because of equity, okay, or I failed because of portfolio management. So they generally have a tendency that, what, I scored great in ethics, I scored great in FRA, मैं तो pass होना चाहिए था, I should have passed. Why did I not pass? I did not pass because of equity. And I think that's incorrect way of analyzing the results. That's not how you should be reading it. There is no subject wise minimum passing score. Let me repeat that again. Listen to this carefully. There is no subject wise minimum passing score. CFA Institute has announced this time and time again, which basically means if you score really well in 9 subjects, and if you probably don't do as good in the 10th one, you would still be able to pass. So why say that I could not pass because of equity probably you should say that I did not score sufficient enough in derivatives. Maybe I could have scored a little more in derivatives. Maybe I could have scored, better in financial statement analysis or whatever, right? So stop saying that I did not fail or I did not pass because of this subject. No, that is not true. We did not pass because we did not score enough on an aggregate level. All right. Second, there is a very large sampling bias in every subject score that comes out. Just think about it. You've studied a little bit of statistics at level 1. Within financial statement and analysis, the FinTree question bank itself has about 800 questions. Right? You could construct maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 questions, out of which you would probably end up having like 30 odd questions on the exam. That's it. So imagine the questions on the exam are a small subset, a small sample of a really large population. So when the sample size is very small, it creates sampling bias. In an easy language, maybe you are great with FRA except one reading, and on the exam, us reading se question aa gaya. On the exam, you ended up having questions from that particular reading. Possible, right? So don't obsess too much about individual scores. Yeah, they're important. They're giving you valuable information. Take that. Maybe spend a little bit of more time, but don't say that that's I scored great in ethics, so I don't need to prepare for ethics again. No, it's not going to be that way. It happens to a lot of candidates that they score good in certain subjects in first attempt, and then maybe they don't score as well in the next attempt jab lete hai. So, you have to study all the 10 subjects. You haven't passed or failed because of one or two subjects. It's aggregate score. Now, you're here and you want to know, what should I do? Should I just give up on the program? Should I take the August? Should I, take the November? Should I take the February next year? So here's a general framework. Again, a big disclaimer is this is very generic discussion, just to give you some sort of a thinking input. It varies from candidate to candidate. But in my understanding of observing these mark sheets of a large number of candidates and having trained them, if you score somewhere in this range, right, you're below the 10th percentile or you're closer to the 10th percentile, it shows that you probably do not have an understanding of curriculum at all. Maybe, these are generally the candidates who couldn't finish the syllabus. 7 subjects ho gaye, 3 reh gaye. I could finish 7 subjects, I couldn't do 3. Like, there are a lot of guys like those, right? So generally, those are the category of people who end up being here. So if you're here, obviously, you're more or less at zero level. And you have to prepare the entire curriculum from scratch. You need to spend a lot of time learning the concept and then spending equal amount of time practicing the questions. So give yourself time. So if I were here, first thing I'll do is I'll spend a few hours self-reflecting that where did it go wrong? And be brutally honest with yourself, because you're the only witness of your studies. Right? You can blame it on other people, you can blame it on circumstances, but at the end of the day, it was you who was opening the book and doing questions and watching videos. So you know what you did. But if you're here in this range, in general, you're going to need more time. Right? So again, it varies from candidate to candidate, but my suggestion would be, go give yourself longer time. Maybe think of February 2023, or maybe even after that, so that you give yourself sufficient time to prepare well. If you're in that blue region, again, it's very broad, right? You would ask me, what if I'm between this? I don't know. But if you're somewhere in that blue region, in my experience, again, these are the candidates who probably managed to finish their syllabus, but they're still not as conceptually strong as they need to be. So that's like your second layer. Finish the syllabus, but really know the concepts, right? So you're still not good at conceptual clarity. You still need to do a lot of reworking. You still need to read the entire curriculum. If that's what you studied from, you probably need to go through videos. You need to, whatever your learning process is, right? So you again need more time. So again, I would be skewed towards the November attempt, maybe again February next year, because that gives you reasonable amount of time. And if you are here, right, if you're here where you're very very close to MPS, maybe your confidence interval is crossing the MPS, that means you missed by a few questions, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 2 questions, right, depending on how close you were. Now, you, in general, you can get through the exam in the next immediate available attempt. I think in your case that's going to be August. You can get through the exam by spending more time on practicing questions, right? That's what you need to work on. Maybe you knew the concept but you did not acquaint yourself with the mock exams or the exam format. Maybe you panicked on the day of exam. It could be variety of reasons. So practice a lot of questions. The CFA curriculum blue boxes, end of the chapter questions, learning ecosystem questions. FinTree has fantastic question bank. Just try to get your hands on whatever questions you can get. Solve questions, figure out what mistakes you're making, learn from the mistakes, and keep on building and layering up on top of it. Right. So that's my general advice on how to think about it. As I said before, it hurts. Uh, it hurts, when the results are not positive, but don't let it, hold you back. Just, remove the emotions out of it and just think of it objectively. Think of it as if it's someone else's result, right? And then think that what is it that needs to be done to achieve the desired result. And all of us are capable of doing, infinite things in our life. Just a result does not mean you're not good. So please do not let it affect you in any way whatsoever. It is just a result. You can, strategize better and you can prepare for the next exams and you will be able to pass and you will receive that congratulations email. All right. So with this, I'm calling it off. I hope you found the video useful. I'll connect with you guys again sometime soon. Thank you.